It's 2018. Is it still worth the effort to make a flyer for a show? Hails, minions and mortals, this is Fang from Lords of the Trident, and today we're tackling the question, are flyers still worth the effort? Well, are they? When you're looking for a show, or an event, or just something to do for the upcoming weekend, where do you look first? For most people, the answer would be Facebook, local venue websites, or maybe an aggregated list of all the events going on in the city. In short, you check the web. So if you're looking to get more people out to your shows, and everybody's just checking Facebook anyway, is it still worth the effort to make a flyer? What we're trying to think about here is ROI, return on investment. It definitely takes a long time to make a decent looking poster, not to mention the time and tape it takes to go walking around town putting them up everywhere. Most people will probably be able to count on one hand the number of times that a physical piece of paper alerted them to a show versus, say, a Facebook event or somebody sharing it on social media. So, as a penny-pinching DIY artist like myself, you might say to yourself that your time and effort and money are better spent in other ways trying to get people out to your shows. And you would be right. And yet so very wrong. So there's two ways to think about this. Short-term goals and long-term goals. If your short-term goal is just to get more people out to a specific event, hey man, come on out to Phil's Kegger, the backwards baseball caps are playing at 10, or we're having a natty ice chugging competition, woo! Then yeah, a physical flyer is probably going to only capture the attention of a few people. But you want to get more people out to all of your events. And to do that, you have to build brand awareness. Hey man, the backwards baseball caps are nobody's brand. We're artists, we're musicians, not some soulless, faceless company, man. See, that's where you're wrong. Every artist, every musician, every act is a brand, whether they like it or not. I mean, do you ever wonder why certain types of acts are associated with certain types of clothing? Why, if you really like Led Zeppelin, you've probably heard of Greta Van Fleet? That's no accident. That's the effect of careful marketing and careful branding. According to P.T. Barnum, it takes 7 times before a customer takes action on an advertisement. He said, "The customer doesn't see the first impression of an advertisement. The second he sees but doesn't read. The third he reads. The fourth he looks at price. The fifth he asks his wife about. Hey man, that's sexist. By the 6th time he's seen an advertisement, he's ready to purchase, and the 7th time he sees it, he purchases." So when we make flyers, we're not making them with the intent of getting people out to a specific show. We're making them with the intent of building name recognition. I mean, let's face it, when was the last time you actually took time out of your day to investigate a band that you had never heard of before? In our example, let's say the backwards baseball caps are playing a show this Saturday. Would you really take the time and stop what you're doing to go investigate and try to find their Facebook page, try to see if they have any SoundCloud or YouTube links, maybe check them out on Reverb Nation? Would you take the 5 to 10 to 15 minutes out of your day to do that? Or would you just keep scrolling in your feed? Remember, ROI is a consideration not just for the band or the artist, but also for the consumer. We all have super busy lives. Am I actually going to take time out of my day to investigate a band I've never heard of before? P.T. Barnum probably had it right. It's going to take more than a few times of me hearing your band name before I actually decide to act on that information and to investigate what you're all about. Given the importance of brand awareness in consumer purchasing decisions, marketers have put together a series of metrics to determine the strength of name recognition. These metrics are collectively known as awareness, attitude, and usage metrics. For most bands, we're primarily focused on the first A, awareness. Strong name recognition is directly linked to the success of a brand or a band. So marketers have a number of tests that they use in order to measure brand awareness. When prompted by a product category, or in our case, let's say a genre of music, most people can only really quickly identify a small number of product brands, usually 3 to 5. So let's do an experiment. Take your favorite genre of music, and in the next 15 seconds, I want you to try to name as many bands in that genre as you possibly can. Pause the video right now, give it a shot. So how'd you do? Did you get more than 5 or 6? If so, hey man, good for you, but remember, this is your favorite genre. Your encyclopedic knowledge may not translate over to subgenres or even different genres entirely. In product tests that marketers do, most people couldn't actively recall more than 7 brand names, even in a product category that they knew very well. And in low-interest product categories, most people could only remember 1 to 2 brand names. Like, for instance, if you're a metal guy, pause the video and give me as many bluegrass band names as you can in the next 60 seconds. Ready? Go! So, what does this have to do with physical posters? Couldn't the same thing be accomplished with Facebook ads? Well, sure. But remember, you want your possible potential consumers to see your name as many times as possible. Maybe they see your name for the first time on Facebook.
There's impression number 1.
And then they see your logo in the local coffee shop on the poster that you put up.
Impression number 2.
And then they'll see your name again on a local venue's website.
Maybe I should ask my wife about this band.
Seriously, dude? Look, when Coke or Pepsi does ads, they don't just do online ads. They put their advertisements in as many formats as possible, and you want to do the same. When consumers purchase a product, they'll usually purchase one of the top 3 products in their consideration set. Coke, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, brah! This is known as top-of-mind awareness. One of the goals of effective marketing is to increase the probability that your brand or band will be in that top-of-mind awareness set. So when people recognize your name, they're way more likely to stop and actually look at the advertisement and read what it has to say. And more importantly, if your name is one of the top 3 names that comes to mind when, say, thinking of a local metal band in your city, then promoters will be way more likely to hit you up for that amazing big giant opening slot on the show that's completely sold out next Thursday. So, do you still need posters in 2018? I would argue that yes you do. And with that in mind, here's a few tips to make your posters as effective as possible. First and foremost, make your band logo as big as possible on the poster and list the genre too whenever possible. A big giant poster that says metal show on the top is way more likely to attract local metalheads. Remember, don't make people guess. Everybody's busy. Second, if you're using a picture of your band on the poster, use a professional photo, not the one you took in your basement. And if you don't have professional photos, spend some money and get some. Piggybacking on this point, don't make crappy posters. Make sure your posters are at least 300 DPI or more. If you don't know how to use Photoshop or GIMP, which is a free Photoshop alternative, take an afternoon and watch a bunch of online tutorials, experiment a little bit, learn. You can do this yourself. Either that, or pay somebody to make some good-looking posters for you. Iron Maiden doesn't make their posters in MS Paint, and neither should you. Third, whenever possible, either cut your posters to size or add a border on the outside of the poster. Nothing screams, I printed this on my mom's LaserJet, than a poster escaping off into white space. Fourth, if you can't afford to make a bunch of 11 by 17 copies of your poster, try making your posters on legal size instead of letter size. Legal size is 8.5 by 14 versus letter size being 8.5 by 11. Most copy shops will charge you the same amount of money to print legal as to print letter. And those few extra inches could make all the difference. That's what she said. Finally, whenever possible, try to do a different poster for every show. Yes, I know it's a lot of work, but if you use the same poster for every single show, people will start to see that poster and just assume it was a poster for an old show, and they'll completely ignore it. So let me know, do you still think posters are necessary, or do you have any poster design tips and tricks? If so, let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and if you want to help support this channel and my band's dreams of world conquest, please consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/Lords of the Trident.